Okay, we're live. So welcome everybody to the March 22nd meeting of the Countywide Bike and Pedestrian Advisory Committee. I'm Stephen Schmitz, chair of the committee. Dana, do you just want to read off folks on the list? Okay.
Yeah, I'm happy to read off the names for the record. I'm Dana Teray with SCTA. We have Drew Nichols with SCTA. Barry Bergman with W-Trans. Bob Cipolla, hopefully I'm saying that right. Alejandro Perez with Town of Windsor. Ben Kageyama with City of Healdsburg. Chris Bearden, Smart. Elizabeth Tyree, Regional Parks. Eris Weaver, SCBC. JP Harris, City of Cotati. Ken Eichstadt, City of Petaluma. Nancy Adams, City of Santa Rosa. Tanya Nareth, RCPA. And Wendy Atkins, City of Sonoma.
Okay, thanks, Dana. So we can move on to item 2, approval of the meeting notes from January 25th. And I did read through those and watch some of the video. I did note, Drew, that you have me under 7.4, but I don't think I was at the meeting. So probably remove my name from 7.4, unless is this from another meeting? Am I getting it wrong?
No, I may have forgot to take your name off of it. My apologies on that.
Okay, no worries. That's the only thing I caught. Otherwise, looks okay to me. Any comments from anybody else? I don't see any hands raised, so I think we can just assume with that change with my name that those are accepted or approved. And moving on to number 3, public comments from anybody about anything that's not already on the agenda. Bob, go ahead.
Hello, everybody. I'm Bob Cipolla, residing at 250 Darbster Place in Santa Rosa in the Berrybrook neighborhood of the Larkfield area. My wife Gail and I are active 71-year-olds, having just retired from long working careers in 2021. One of our main goals is to safely walk every single day for our health, our socialization, and awareness of our surrounding community. I believe this committee intends to see that conditions for safely biking and walking are made available around Sonoma County, particularly in areas which serve parks, schools, healthcare, community, and commercial facilities. During a recent walk south to the Kaiser Clinic facilities at 3925 Old Redwood Highway, it became evident that there wasn't a safe way to take such a walk. As soon as I got to the intersection where Shoffman Park, Cardinal Newman, St. Rose Preschool, and elementary schools are located, I ran out of safe walking opportunities. The red line is pretty much the existing opportunity walking on Old Red. As I was walking in the paved bike line on the east side of Old Red facing oncoming traffic, I saw a bike rider coming towards me, bicycle. Since there were also motor vehicles coming at the same time, I chose to step into the bushes to allow the bicycle to safely proceed. The map shows Google, the one with the blue dots shows Google Maps suggestion on how to make the safest walk, which includes going onto the private property of the schools I mentioned. And I'm in touch with Linda Norman, superintendent of Catholic schools, and she is very concerned about traffic being directed in such a manner. In addition, the suggested route is twice as long, taking twice the time if it were an allowable option. It seems to me that a safer situation could easily be achieved if the approximately 0.6 mile section of road also had sidewalk over that distance. I'd like to suggest that this committee and the organizations you report to consider what can be done to expedite the correction of this unsafe situation. Can someone suggest what the most direct next steps might be to get sidewalks installed around the route I have described today? I'd like your takeaway to be that 3 schools, a public park, Kaiser and Sutter health facilities can become safer walking areas if this approximate half-mile of sidewalk is installed. Further, our community from Molesbury Shopping Center south to the city of Santa Rosa will benefit in being connected by sidewalk as well. Thank you, folks.
Okay, thank you, Bob. Eris, you have your hand up?
Yeah, thanks. Eris with the Sonoma County Bicycle Coalition. Well, so a lot of things we have coming up. Everything is incredibly busy right now. You know, if one of the hidden silver linings of COVID was more people getting out on bikes when they were stuck at home, the recent kind of reopening of things and the new events beginning again has meant that everything is happening all at once, and everyone is wanting us to, you know, come do their event, bike valet, do them a workshop, do something. And it's like, well, we've already got 3 things to schedule that day. So that's kind of cool. Among all of those things, we've got several family bike workshops coming up. Our Learn to Ride classes with Paloma Windsor and Santa Rosa Parks departments are going really well. Our Smart Cycling adult classes have been full every month, which is, you know, really new. Bike month is coming up in May, so we will be having a variety of, you know, bike to wherever, bike to work activities, as well as a repeat of the Ride of Silence, which we'll be adding a Sebastopol route this time. Since the last Ride of Silence, we've had just 1 cyclist death in the county, and that was Mark Osborne on High School Road in Sebastopol. So we'll likely put a route over there. What else can I tell you? Yeah, there's a lot going on, and I'll keep you all informed as various events get finalized. Thanks.
Okay, thanks, Eris. Is there anyone else who would like to say anything about anything not already on the agenda? Okay, then Dana, if you don't mind, if I could just circle back and just briefly respond to Bob's comments, is that appropriate?
Yeah, that'd be great. Thanks.
Okay, great. So Bob, thanks again for your comments. And that is a tricky area. And one of the tricky parts about it is that part of it is in the city of Santa Rosa and part of it is in the unincorporated areas. And so I staff a committee that looks at the unincorporated areas in the county, and I'm happy to follow up with you more online on steps to take to move your requests kind of up the flagpole. And I don't know if, I think Nancy's here. I don't know if you want to, I would assume Nancy, you'd have a similar response for Bob on the Santa Rosa side.
If I'm not mistaken, I believe it's all in the county. It's above the Kaiser clinics, you know, not the Kaiser hospital, but from the Kaiser clinics up to Cardinal Newman High School that I'm speaking to. Okay,
so there are sidewalks up to Kaiser existing right now?
Yes.
Okay, well then, yep. Sorry, I can't punt anything over to the city. I guess that's all me. So I'm happy to talk with you more offline on how to work with committee and the staff folks that I deal with through my committee.
Well, thank you. Drew has my information.
I do,
contact information.
Okay, thanks
Thank
again,
you
Bob. All right. Okay, so moving on to number 4. Planning and policy 4.1 is MTC complete streets policy and checklist updates. Dana?
Yeah, so I can take this. You know, I think at our last meeting, we did discuss what was going on with the MTC's complete streets policy update. And I know that a number of you attended, there was a big workshop on the complete streets policy, as well as the regional active transportation network through the MTC's active transportation working group. There was another active transportation working group meeting last week, where they gave us an update on the Complete Streets checklist and policy, which they are looking to finalize later this month. And it will apply for the OBAG Cycle 3 grant funding. So essentially, there's a resolution and updated policy in the agenda packet, but I just wanted to highlight a few areas that have changed since the last iteration. In case you haven't been following this from through the Active Transportation Working Group, essentially they heard some feedback that there should be an exemption for things like a fire department rejecting certain traffic calming elements that are recommended in a Complete Streets plan. Also looking at special conflicts in a roadway due to transit or conservation areas and adding exemptions for those types of situations. If you go to page 10 in the agenda packet, there's a table with kind of the a summary of the comments that were heard and how they are addressed in the updated Complete Streets policy. So all of this is a pretty big change still from the Complete Streets policy that's been in place for quite a while, and that the checklists that are reviewed by this committee on a regular basis when funding is being received or being requested through MTC. This puts a little more requirements on, it does put more requirements on the public agencies implementing projects, ensuring that that they're, it puts a little more emphasis on requiring design standards for all ages and abilities, for active transportation, Complete Streets, for roadway projects. Rather than having it be just kind of a review, there are certain areas that are going to have more stronger language with requirements on those. So if you haven't been following this process, I just encourage you to take a closer look at this latest draft here. I think that, they have made some good, added some good exemptions that could have made things pretty complicated in this last iteration, and resolve some of those issues. I think that they're kind of moving forward with this pretty quickly, but if you have any last minute comments, you can certainly trying to reach out to MTC on those. But I just wanted to make sure that this is in front of all of you. I believe that this will make it that this committee is going to be reviewing Complete Streets checklists probably more often than in the past. In the past, it had generally been during OBAG cycles, but this is now really kind of expanding that to whenever there's any funding, discretionary funding being requested from MTC, or if an agency is asking for support on funding from MTC. So it's kind of broadening that scope. They did increase the threshold for requiring a Complete Streets checklist to projects that are $250,000 or over. So smaller projects, would have an exemption from completing the checklist. They've also added in a component for to consult with transit if a project is on a corridor served by transit, or if it has any transit stops. The agencies do need to have those transit agencies review the project and sign off on it. So I will just stop there and open this up for discussion if anybody has any comments or anything they would like to discuss on this process.
Ken?
Yep. Thank you very much, Dana. Should a complete streets resolution be going through our city councils then with this change? Is that what's expected?
No, so actually there's two different, there's a complete streets policy that was required to be adopted by local jurisdictions a while back. And all of our local jurisdictions have adopted that policy. Nothing is changed for that policy. And I don't have the resolution number in front of me that that policy applies to, but this change is only regarding the MTC's resolution 3765, which is a project-based complete streets policy. And so this does not need to be adopted by local jurisdictions. It's more of the process for projects that are seeking funding or support from MTC. And so it requires filling out a complete streets checklist and having that reviewed by this committee.
Dana, does this go to MTC tomorrow? Did I read the timeline right on this? Does it go to the commission tomorrow?
You know, that is, I think that is correct.
Dana, this is Nancy. It is correct.
That is
Yes.
correct. Okay. Yeah, for some reason I thought there was more time because they also listed the end of the week as having like a 95% draft checklist. So I guess I'm not sure exactly what that means, if there's still room to make minor adjustments. Maybe just on the checklist, not necessarily the policy.
Okay. Okay, any other comments or questions? I did look at some of the video last week, and it seems like there was a pretty good discussion not last week, but last meeting. And so I got most of it out in the last meeting, but if there's anything further, go ahead and speak up, or if you think of something after the meeting, contact Dana. Anything else from anybody on complete streets and the checklist? Okay, moving on to 4.2, Regional Active Transportation Network.
All right, I'll just give a brief update on this as well, which is very much related to the complete streets policy. And actually in the complete streets policy attachment in your agenda packet, there's a slide deck from MTC that includes information about both the complete streets policy and the Regional Active Transportation Network. So you can find more information there, but generally, I just want to give an update that that Regional Active Transportation Network is still being updated. There's been, I think, kind of a couple rounds of review and comments, and I think that MTC is now kind of narrowing in on their strategy for identifying the Regional Active Transportation Network. It's very much connected to complete streets within the or a network within plan development areas and equity priority areas, as well as connections to those areas. So I think there's been some confusion and also kind of swaying a bit on whether to include areas kind of outside of routes kind of outside of those areas. Anyways, MTC did say that they will be putting out another round or the map for review again, either this week or next week, I believe. So there will be one last round for review. And anything that comes out, I'll certainly send out to jurisdiction staff for review. But that is also being expected to wrap up in the coming months as well.
Okay, thanks for that, Dana. But did you compile everybody's comments? I can't remember, or was it just, yep.
Yeah, so I think it's back in probably in January, there was a round of review and I compiled comments that came in from a number of different jurisdictions and sent a summary to MTC just to help them with their process. I think they've done a couple rounds of revisions since then. So it will definitely be interesting to see what the next version looks like. I think that it's, I think there's been some confusion because the map looks like a lot of short segments in some areas rather than contiguous routes. And it is really connected to their policies trying to focus on the plan development areas and equity priority communities.
So would you recommend that we continue to go through you as kind of taking the lead on compiling comments?
Yeah, I mean, I can certainly, I think that would be helpful. MTC was not requiring that it go through CTAs, but they were happy to get a summary by county. So I would be happy to do that again if that, if folks wanted to share their comments with me, I can compile them into a single set of comments.
Great, thank you. Any other questions or comments from folks? Well, it sure will be interesting to see what they come out with. And you said within the next week
Yes,
or so?
that's what I heard at the Active Transportation Working Group.
And then did you get a sense from them how long they would give for this additional round of comments?
I'm not sure on that.
I'm sure they'll let us know when they release them.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I don't have any other questions or comments. Anything else from the group? I don't see any raised hands. So why don't we move along to Vision Zero, SCTA approval and next steps.
Thanks, Stephen. So I'm here today in Janet's place. She's on vacation this week, as is Chris Barney. But just wanted to give a quick update to this group on the status of the Vision Zero Action Plan and have a brief discussion about next steps. So as you probably are aware, the Vision Zero Action Plan went to our board at its March meeting, March 14th, and the plan was adopted by the board, and also a resolution endorsing Vision Zero was adopted by our board. And so we finished that major milestone in the project. And one of the key deliverables, in addition to the action plan itself, is a toolkit that is available on our website to support adoption of the Vision Zero Action Plan by all the local jurisdictions. And so the link to the website is included in the agenda. And on that website, you'll see a number of different links to the action plan, to the data dashboard, and then a new link to the Vision Zero toolkit, where we have actually a link to a Dropbox that has a set of fillable progress tracker forms. So when your jurisdiction moves forward with adopting the plan and identifies the actions that you want to commit to, there'll be those tracker files that you could use to track and communicate your progress towards the Vision Zero goals. There's also a sample presentation that basically takes the presentation that Tool gave to our board in March and add some placeholders for each jurisdiction to customize for your own jurisdiction. And then lastly, a sample Vision Zero resolution that you could, again, customize, set your targets and the actions that you want to commit to, and take that to your council. One of the things that Janet has been working on, and I don't know the latest status, this was before she left on vacation, but looking to see if she can find some additional funding that would help with additional consulting support for implementation in the jurisdictions. So for example, there was some interest expressed, I think in a previous Vision Zero Advisory Committee meeting, in having some additional support from Tool or another consultant to present the action plan and to be to your council, to be available to answer any technical questions with the plan that might be more challenging for staff to respond to. So she is looking into that, and I'm sure we'll be providing an update to this group when she's back from vacation. So the immediate next steps there would be to present the action plan to your board or council, and then also to determine if you want to move forward with a resolution in support of the action plan. So I'll stop there. That's really the update that I had to share today. Could answer any questions that you might have, and then also would love to hear updates from your jurisdictions in terms of any plans that you have for taking the action plan forward in your jurisdiction. And also any other ideas you have for ways that SCTA could support you in doing that. So I'll turn it back to you, Stephen.
Okay, thanks, Tanya. Any comments for Tanya on Vision Zero? Is there I should probably know this, but is there a goal for getting a resolution from each of the jurisdictions in the county for Vision Zero? I mean, is there a timeline goal?
We did not set that. Unfortunately, we ran out of time and funding with the Caltrans grant. That is something that in the original idea of the project would have been part of the wrap up of the project, but we just had to use up the remaining time and funding to finish the action plan. So there were no commitments in terms of specific next steps.
Yeah. Ken, you have your hand up?
Yeah, thank you very much, Tanya. Appreciate your work, yours and Janet's on it. Yeah, the city of Petaluma, I've mentioned it, and people are definitely want to get this moved forward within the city government, within City Hall. So unfortunately, we're just we don't have a lot of staff, so I have to put together a staff report. If you have any examples of the staff report, and I understand there will be a resolution and a presentation, so I can start using those, and then like I say, an example staff report would be great. And then as far as having Tool or another consultant possibly present, I think would be helpful. And if the funding isn't there, maybe I can figure out if we can get some funding to move it forward. So yeah, I really appreciate all the work on it, and it's definitely got a lot of public favor, and we definitely don't want to let this die. It's really, really important to keep it going. So and if there was a way of sort of setting, even if it's just a penciled in date, to get resolutions from the municipalities, it would just, I think, show our county in a stronger, more sort of forward way of thinking about how we're dealing with things. So thank you.
Thank you. So on the question of the staff report, so the only example that we have is the report that Janet prepared for our board, which I'm sure you could take pieces of and customize, but I will also follow up with Janet when she's back to see if we might be able to put together something more generic that could be used along, as part of the toolkit. So I'll definitely follow up on that with her. And then I really appreciate the idea of setting a timeline or deadlines. And if that's something that this group is able to do, if not today, then maybe at your next meeting, maybe have a discussion about setting those dates. That would be great.
Okay, thanks. Nancy?
Oh, yeah, I just would echo Ken's comment about a sample staff report, Tanya. And, if there's one that you guys can put together and maybe after you talk to Janet, you could share that with the group, that'd be super, because I'm all in about not recreating the wheel.
Yeah. And Nancy, do you have any sense of timeline within Santa Rosa, or to be determined?
No, I likely won't get to our council until maybe late July, early August, because we're, most locals now are in the budget season, May and June. So council agendas are really full for the next couple of months.
Okay, Ben?
I'd like to also say that it would be helpful to have a staff report template to use, and just wanted to get an idea of when we expect Janet to find out if Tool can offer support for presenting. How soon might we know that?
I think fairly soon. I believe she's already talked with Quinn about it, and there's interest there. I think it's more a matter of figuring out what would the cost be and then where would the funding come from. So I think that's probably the bigger barrier, because Tool is really interested in seeing this work carry forward. So they're definitely interested in supporting.
Okay.
So I would say I can check with Janet. She's back next week, so I will definitely follow up with her and then get back in touch with all of you.
Yeah, I agree with Ken that would be very helpful.
Okay, thanks. Eris?
Hi, thanks. I've been fairly involved with the whole Vision Zero thing overall, and I'm really hoping that at least some of the jurisdictions really take it and embrace it. And I have to say that one of the things that I have really found lacking in the whole process is passion. Right? I mean, staff reports and numbers and charts and all of that stuff, or yeah, we need, data to back up things that we're doing. But this is really, if you're going to get true buy-in from whether it's a city council or residents or whoever, there's got to be some passion there, right? You've got to touch people's emotions. It's easy for me. I spend time sitting in the courtroom. I'll be there again tomorrow with victims, families, who have been killed on our streets. And I would really hope that those of you who were representing your city in that collaborative process will bring some passion to your city. I didn't see a whole lot in the process, and we've got to use stories and experiences as a way to complement the data as to why this is such an important thing if it's really going to go. So this is just my passionate plea to all of you, taking it back to your jurisdictions, because you're the ones who have to do it, right? The cities have to do it. I can show up at every city. In fact, I'm happy to come and carry on when it's going before your council or anybody else in your city. I'm happy to come and be a passionate person about why this is necessary. But it needs passion from more people than just me. Thanks.
Health services,
Please.
were they planning on taking it to the Board of Supervisors?
I don't know, Stephen. I think because the funding is basically, we're finished with the grant funding. I don't think they had any resources to continue working on it, but it really should go to the board. So I don't know
I'll check in with Janet.
Yeah,
I'm
that'd be great.
sure there's probably a lead person over there that filled the void. in the
Yeah,
interim.
Laurel Chambers has
Okay.
been the lead.
Okay, great. Okay, any other hands from anybody? Any other comments or questions about Vision Zero? Okay, well, I gave it a long pause.
Well, we're here if you have questions after the meeting, and I'll definitely follow up with Janet, and she'll be in touch with additional information. So thank you all.
Thanks, Tanya. We're gonna move on to the Countywide Active Transportation Plan update.
All right, so I added this item in hopes that I would have an update on the grant funding that we applied for by now, but I do not. So we applied just for, as a reminder to everyone, back in October, we applied for the second time for the Caltrans Sustainable Communities Transportation Planning Grant for a countywide active transportation plan update that included a number of local jurisdiction plan updates as well. We have not heard back on whether or not we are successful with that grant yet. And the Caltrans website says that announcements will be made in spring, which I think started yesterday. So hopefully any day now we will hear back, and I will let you all know as soon as we do.
Well, no, I appreciate Caltrans giving us such a specific date because we're always just kind of curious when the decisions are going to be made. So for them to get that specific, that's how it's helpful. My tongue is in my cheek. So spring, so sometime this spring, and that's what they said in the original application when you submitted it. It said spring, so they haven't given a more definitive date, obviously.
They have not, no.
Okay. Well, we're all very anxious to hear positive news. So that's it. Nothing else to report on that. Okay. Thanks, Dana. So item 5.1, program of projects.
All right, so the Transportation Development Act Article 3 program is in your agenda packet. It's kind of way down on page 63 of the PDF if you want to follow along. So for this round of funding for fiscal year 22-23, we received 3 applications for projects. That includes a project in the city of Sebastopol for ADA curb ramps on a State Route 116 and intersection improvements on Bodega Avenue. They previously had some TDA 3 funding for the SR 116 curb ramps and rescinded it to be able to combine that project with a larger project. And so their funding ask here includes that rescinded project, which is why you may have seen part of that project before, but it's now part of a larger project. The next project is application submitted is from the city of Petaluma for work on the Lynch Creek Trail between Edith Court North and Payron Street. And then the third applications from city of Santa Rosa for some matching funds for the Highway 101 bicycle and pedestrian overcrossing. There's project descriptions, a little more detail in the staff report. And I believe all of those entities are here today if you have specific questions on any of the projects. But I would, we are asking this committee to consider these projects and make a recommendation to the SCTA Board of Directors. This program of projects will go to our board on May 9th and then be submitted to MTC. And MTC will then have contracts ready for the jurisdictions to have the funding available by July 1. So I will also just mention that City of Santa Rosa is applying for their fund balance and this year's allocation, plus an additional borrowing ahead, additional around $46,000, which is allowable under this program. So I'm happy to answer any questions or look to the applicants for any project-specific questions anyone might have.
I just had a quick question for Petaluma. Ken, I think I'm reading the project description correctly, but that's an existing trail, right? That you're just repaving? Yeah.
Well, it doesn't have pavement. It's one of the last stretches that's doesn't have any surfacing, and so it's kind of a muddy, potholed trip when you go through there in the wintertime. And it's the good thing about this particular project is it's going to link up to a portion of Lynch Creek Trail that a developer called its River Bend Development will be doing. And so that'll be pretty much the last stretch of unpaved trail for Lynch Creek Trail, which is essentially it's 2.5 miles roughly east to west across Petaluma. So
So it's an existing trail, it's just not paved.
correct. Yeah. Yeah.
I got it. Well, that's great.
Yeah.
Thank you. Any questions for any of the jurisdictions that are available regarding these 3 projects? Okay, I don't see anything from anybody, so can I entertain a motion from someone to approve the program of projects? Elizabeth? Okay,
I'll second it.
all right, thanks, Wendy. And so I don't see any objections. Seeing no objections, then it's approved. Thank you. And let's see, anything else you need for that, Dana, or is that good?
That is it. Thank you.
Okay, move on to 5.2 TFCA project submittals for the 22-23 program.
All right. So TFCA project applications were due yesterday, so I just thought I would mention briefly to this committee what projects we've received. We did receive the project applications from the 3 bus transit operators that are guaranteed funding under the TFCA program and those are for electric buses and marketing project. And then for the competitive portion, we received applications from the City of Petaluma and the City of Santa Rosa for bicycle parking. And from SCTA for a commute incentive program through the Ride Amigos online and mobile application platform. So the 3 competitive projects were all scalable, and we will have a recommendation for scaling down SCTA's project to 1 year and fully funding the 2 bicycle parking applications. So those will go to that program of projects will go to the TAC next month, as well as the transit TAC. But just wanted to mention it to this committee.
Okay. Thank you. So that was just information. And any questions for Dana about that? Seeing none. Let's go on to 5.3, active transportation program cycle 6.
All right, so the state call for projects came out the end of last week, I believe. And there's a link to that webpage if you have not received the state call for projects. There's a link in the agenda. Also included in your agenda are the regional guidelines for the regional active transportation, the regional portion of the cycle 6 funding. So this is just informational. Let's see, I believe the state has, the state program has 325 million. And the regional program has about 55 million during the cycle. So I believe that's a pretty big jump from the last round. I'll also mention that MTC will be having a workshop on the regional program in April. I wrote down April 22nd, but I don't believe that's been officially announced yet. So when I do receive that information, I'll send it around to the committee. And so this is just informational. I would be interested to hear if anyone is planning to apply. But that's all I have on this item.
Okay, thanks, Dana. So the county is reapplying for their Safe Routes to Schools ATP grant for Bellevue Moreland. I confirmed that with Public Works. And then Public Works is also partnering with the city of Sebastopol to reapply for their ATP grant for Regal Road, Mill Station Road, and I think that might even go over along Bodega Avenue in that neck of the woods. So those are the two that are moving forward that involves the county Public Works. Ben.
City of Healdsburg is planning to resubmit our Cycle 5 application for the Healdsburg Avenue Complete Streets project.
Good, great. Ken.
We're gonna resubmit our application for River Trail. So this will be the third time. Hopefully it's the charm.
That's what we're all thinking. Okay, Nancy. Thanks, Ken.
So because Santa Rosa was so successful in round 5, the $12 million for ATP, we're going to shift our focus a little bit and look at the quick build. So we probably will submit something for the state portion of the quick build part of the ATP. And, you know, we just couldn't come up with anything that we could do for the ATP that could get through the federal process. We just don't have anything ready that wouldn't involve environmental or right of way. So, you know, we thought about it a little bit, but that said, we've reached out to SMART to see if there's an interest in going for some of the ATP funds for a portion of the SMART multi-use path that would be that northerly reach there in Santa Rosa from basically Guerneville up to San Miguel. So they seemed receptive, but you know, we're just right now in the conversation, so nothing definite on that.
Okay, thanks, Nancy. Any other jurisdictions submitting ATP grants? Seeing none. Got her here. Did we already talk about 5.3, Dana? Oh, wait. I'm on the wrong-
Yes, that was 5.3, and then the 5.3.1 is the state call for projects. And
Oh, got it. Okay.
so yeah, I just discussed them together.
And the regional guidelines?
Yes, so the regional guidelines are in the agenda packet for your information.
Okay. Great. Okay, any final questions or comments about the ATP? Other than everybody crossing their fingers and hoping that this time's the charm. Seeing nothing, let's move on to 6 updates, roundtable updates, and I'm just going to go with clockwise. And so Elizabeth Tyree, you're the winner. You can start off.
Oh, thank you, Stephen. Sonoma County Regional Parks does not have any updates for today, but thank you.
Sure. And next I see is Wendy Atkins, Sonoma.
Hi, we don't have any updates for the city of Sonoma. Thank you.
Okay, sure. And Ben from Healdsburg?
We are resuming our Grove Street neighborhood plan. We've had a workshop, neighborhood workshop for outreach and trying to come up with our preliminary design for that Grove Street neighborhood plan.
Oh, Grove Street. Okay, got it. So is that kind of an extension of kind of the Healdsburg corridor? Kind of the same thing? Type thing?
It'll be something like a complete street plan. Yes.
Good. Okay, anything else, Ben?
Nope, that's all.
Okay. Ken, Petaluma.
We've got the Petaluma Boulevard South Road Diet is in construction, should be completed in June. So that's a 4-to-3 conversion. We've got bulb outs, safer crossing, green pavement for the bike facilities. And same time that's going on, I'm trying to get a bike boulevard down on 5th Street. And so we're going through that process. The PBAC meeting next week will see another iteration of that. And in combination with the PBS road diet and the bike boulevard, we've got wayfinding that we've started to try to get people safely entering, at least to start with the south end of Petaluma, and get them to transit, to the downtown, to the bike boulevard. So we've got wayfinding going on. And then I've got a sort of a pilot scale traffic calming, a traffic circle that we've gone through the public process, and that should be implemented in the next month. And then we're updating our active transportation plan. Same time our general plan is being updated, we're doing the ATP. So a lot of things kind of moving forward here. Thanks.
Good. Okay. Thanks, Ken. Chris, do you have any updates from SMART?
No updates from SMART today.
Thanks. And moving on to Alejandro from Town of Windsor.
Thanks, Steve. Town of Windsor does not have any updates as well, sorry, today. Thanks.
Okay, thanks. JP, City Katani?
Thanks, Steve. No, we don't have any updates this month either.
Okay. And Nancy, City of Santa Rosa. Nancy?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, sorry.
That's right.
Outside eating my lunch. I'm trying to come and go. So I'm at the office, but not in the office. So just a few things. We're wrapping up our corridor studies. We had a little virtual community call the 1st of March for Dutton Avenue. So that's our last kind of virtual community conversation. So we're fixing to get those, eventually to our council. probably this summer, and as part of our HSIP grant application that we also will be working on for these corridor studies, enhancements that were identified. Bjorn released a notice on our website for looking for vendors for our scooter pilot project that will be starting hopefully. I'm going to the council in mid-April I got to go for an ordinance change. So that's going to be 2 readings with the council. So I'm hoping, once we get through the council that we'll be able to hire a vendor early summer. So that's kind of exciting. And let's see what else. Santa Rosa Avenue, Dana, this is one of our TDA projects. We're getting close to getting that project under construction. So that'll be exciting. That's putting bike and ped enhancements and reducing the travel lanes there, Santa Rosa Avenue from Sonoma Avenue to Maple. So a lot going on. But yeah, I think that's it for me for now. Thanks.
Okay, thanks, Nancy. Orlando Ramirez from Caltrans, do you have anything to report?
Hi, right now we're just working on updating our comprehensive multimodal corridor plan for the US 101 corridor. So if there are any projects within your jurisdiction and near the corridor, you can feel free to send them to our ATP branch so that we can take a look at them and try to include them in our project list for the document.
Okay, thanks, Orlando. So for the county, we just adopted our updated 3-year funding plan, which primarily includes TD Article 3, and Arnold Drive is getting a big chunk of the change for the county, and that continues to move forward with design. We received a presentation a couple months ago on the design, so that moves forward, and we have funding in 23-24 for that project. Otherwise, we're anxious to hear about the grant through the SCTA from Caltrans to see if when we can move forward with our plan update. And then we continue to make progress on our application for bike-friendly communities designation. And so those are our 3 main areas of interest on the county side. That's about it for us. Is there anything from anybody else that I may have missed?
Hey, Steve, this is Nancy. So Dana, you're probably this question probably is more for you, but Stephen, your remarks made me think about it. So the bike-friendly community designation that the county's working on, I think the SCTA has put in an application as an employer for the bike-friendly employer. So I don't know if that's correct or what, but just maybe Dana, you could help maybe sort that out, because I got an email, maybe it was from Drew, about a survey. So could you maybe clarify if that's true?
Yeah, so we did put in an application through the League of California Bicyclists for a bicycle-friendly business. And through that application process, they asked for visitors that come to our location to fill out a survey. So we distributed that to all of our committee members. I know it's been a while since you've all been to our office, but we would love feedback on how it seems like it might be to get here on a bike for when you did come over to our office. So Tanya, do you have anything to add to that?
Nope, I think you captured it well.
Okay.
I guess one thing I would like to add on bike parking is that we just recently installed some indoor, I don't know if you the kind of bike parking that's on the wall. So if you do ride your bike the next time you come visit us, we do have some indoor parking available. And of course, you can always bring them up to our office as well.
That's great. Okay, good.
Yeah,
Thanks.
that's great. Yeah, thanks, Dana. I would have, if there's any way that Santa Rosa could have helped, I'm not sure.
Nancy, I think you cut out. Okay, well, we can.
Yeah,
come
I
back.
did.
Okay, there we go.
I think I'm back. My internet. Yeah, I was just saying, Dana, if there's anything else that we can help, at this point, let us know to support your application endeavors. That we're there to help and support you guys. Yep.
Is that for Dana or for me, Nancy?
Well, no. Okay, Stephen, I don't know. I can cast a wider net, and I'll include the county too, but definitely Dana. Yeah.
Well, no, but I mean, actually, we did discover when we were talking with LAB that, we were wondering if they were going to require us to focus just solely on the unincorporated areas. But what they did come back and say was, well, no, even if it's the unincorporated focus, anything that the incorporated cities have done, we can include that in our application for our own designation. So that's good news. That really helps strengthen our application. So we'll probably be reaching out to get some information from you, Nancy.
Yep. Okay. A couple of things. One is the city of Petaluma, I think, would be interested in the bicycle friendly designation. So I'd definitely like to, after you go through all the effort, if you could just send us the application, I'd appreciate it, and we'll piggyback. But no, it's a good thing. It's League of American Bicyclists. So thanks. I just wanted to give another update and then ask a question to Chris Bearden. North McDowell is going to go out to bid in May. And so we've been going through improving the connectivity along that corridor, both to transit, for pedestrians, for bicyclists, and really looking at it from a complete streets approach. And this is from Sunrise Parkway to Old Redwood Highway. I sent over an email to Bill Gamblin. I really want to coordinate what the multi-use path work is going to be going on. So if there's any way, Chris Bearden, if you could, we should probably connect on that, because I'd be interested when the section South Point to North McDowell is moving forward, and then if there's any work on the track crossing on McDowell. I know that work was going to be proceeding with SMART, so we'd definitely like to make sure we've exchanged, drawings and that we've got that well coordinated. So thank you.
Okay, Ken. Yeah, I'll get some more information on that and definitely get you. I'll get in touch with you on that.
Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thanks, Ken. Chris. Eris.
Hi, just a couple things. I just want to tag off with the certification as a bike-friendly community or bike-friendly business, and really encourage any of your jurisdictions that have not gotten certified to do so. Not only does it, give you some bragging rights, but the process of going through all of those possibilities of, in the application can be daunting. But part of it, I think it was intended to be as educational as it was diagnostic of what are possibilities that cities can do to become more bike friendly. I think it's a great process for the city to go through. And I also offer any help with that, because I've also helped various entities with their applications to go through that as well. And of course, I'm one of the people who always get sent the surveys to comment on people. One other thing I just wanted to throw out there, now that looks like we've probably got a date set up, an event that I have been wanting to bring to Sonoma County. It started working on pre-COVID, which put the wrench in it, and Ken and some other folks on the staff there have been involved in talking about, which is to bring have a ciclovia in Petaluma. And It looks like, I think I got a confirmation that July 17th will be the date. And we are, of course, hoping, this has all been going around, hoping that the Petaluma Boulevard Road Diet is done so that we can showcase it as part of the event. But I've now attended 4 of these events in 4 different cities, 3 in the Bay Area, and I've also gone down to LA to see what they do down there. And my long-term goal is to have a fabulous, well, my short-term, have a fabulous event in Petaluma this summer. And then my ultimate goal is to, see one happen in every city. So if you have no idea what a ciclovia is and don't know what the heck I'm talking about, ping me offline and I'll send you some stuff.
Okay, thanks, Eris. Any other final comments for the roundtable discussion? I think we hit that, everybody. Move on to 6.2, bike and pedestrian counters.
Right, so last meeting which was in January, we brought up the bicycle and pedestrian counters as a discussion item. One, to remind folks that the SCTA has some bicycle and pedestrian counters that we can lend out. We have 4 sets of the bicycle tube counters and then 3 of the infrared counters, which infrared counters count everyone and the bicycle tube counters count just bikes. So if you want to differentiate bicycles and pedestrians, you can use both together to do that. We have infrared counter out in Healdsburg right now, but the rest of our equipment is available at the moment. And also, so just wanted to remind you all that that's available. We just, would need, usually it's maintenance staff that would go out and install the equipment if you want to do some counts. But we also brought this item up in January because some of the jurisdictions had been talking about looking into some permanent bicycle counters and possibly pedestrian counters as well. And we thought it would be good to just keep this as an ongoing discussion item in case there's any information that folks want to share with each other on looking into these installations, maybe any economies of scale for opportunities for joint procurement of equipment. So we just brought this as a standing item, and I'll open it up if anybody has any questions about the equipment we have or has any updates on equipment that your jurisdiction is looking into.
Thanks, Dana. Eris, you still have your hand up. Did you have a comment on this item?
Oh, no, I just didn't put it down. Sorry.
No worries. Let's see. Any questions from anybody else on the counters? Okay, we can move on to bike share update.
All right. So we do have a working group meeting tomorrow. And our vendor Bolt has been working on getting encroachment permits submitted. I believe that there are just 3 jurisdictions that are still reviewing some of the details of their site plans, but the rest of the jurisdictions have confirmed all of their locations and the configuration. So Bolt is just working on submitting those encroachment permit applications, and meanwhile getting kind of marketing materials together and kind of honing in on the rest of the details that are needed to get ready for launching the program. There's kind of a range of timeframes for processing the encroachment permit, so which is about 3 to 6 weeks. So kind of depending on how fast those go through, that will kind of tell what our timeline is moving forward. Yeah, that's my update for today. Happy to answer any questions anybody has.
Yeah, Dana, this is Nancy. I think I sent you some comments from Jamie, our outreach communication manager. So hopefully you got those. I haven't checked my emails in a while. So
I did, thank you. And I did send those off to Bolt, so I appreciate it.
all right, thank you.
So Dana, if all the planets align and all the encroachment permits get through in a reasonable amount of time, what's the best case scenario? Is it this summer or next fall, you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think best case scenario, yeah, definitely summer. There is a possible issue with shipping, supply chain issue which we're waiting to hear back on. The bikes are all in the country, but the batteries, they need to update their batteries, and those are have not been shipped yet, and it's kind of been pending for a while. So that it could possibly cause a delay, but hopefully those will be ready and be shipped by the time that all the permitting is done. So that's kind of a TBD there.
Okay. Any other questions about bike share? Okay, then I think we can move on to 7, other business comments, announcements. I think Eris, you sent out an advocacy alert about Sonoma Developmental Center meeting tonight. So I guess I'll mention that again. So virtual workshop tonight at 5:30, and there's also another one on Saturday, March 26th at 10 a.m. And that's about the Sonoma Developmental Center specific plan. Anything else from anybody? Other business comments, announcements? Okay, I'm not seeing any hands. So I think we can probably call another good meeting and adjourn for now. And the next one will be in May. Yeah. Okay. Great. Thanks a lot, everybody.
Thanks,
Thank you all.
Stephen.
Yeah.
Good night.
Good.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.